Minutes past 8.
The power companies enable us to have control over our energy supply for the future. They return a huge amount. That's why so many people overseas want to buy into them. You know, we sold off contact energy and we lose $100 million a year across the Tasman to Australia. And John, what you've never told us is how are you going to guarantee that that 49% that you say you're going to begin by selling doesn't fall into foreign hands?
So we're less than 24 hours away from the polls opening here in New Zealand. And to go through the election campaign with us up to this point, it is Selwyn Manning. Thanks very much to scoop.co.nz. Morning, Selwyn.
Yeah, good morning, Glenn.
And so what have been the big issues that have developed throughout the campaign?
Yeah, well, I think, for me, Glenn, it's leadership and honesty. In these issues that are coming through time and time again, do Kiwis want to have the national-led government sell assets? State-owned assets significantly in the first run of those energy companies. We've heard so much about this kind of stuff. People have a clear choice, but it really comes down to style, policy, leadership, and values. The values of the voter. And I think really this election campaign has mapped out a fantastic menu of choice. I think right from every electorate throughout the country, and certainly every party under the MMP system that is actually campaigning for office here, has well and truly clearly communicated what they really stand for. And I think I'd be very surprised if the public got surprised next year when whatever government is in power rolls out its agenda. I think there are no secret agendas here.
Yeah, we can't really have that excuse anymore by saying that the two main parties are so close and you can't really tell their policies from apart from each other. We really do have big differences going on.
Well, there's a huge wide ditch between the two main parties, and certainly that's been well thrashed out, and I know you and I have talked about that. The other parties, this transition of the Green Party to one of voter respectability, and I mean that not in a derogatory sense of the past. I really admired the way this party has actually created itself and accentuated its brand. But today, Russell Norman in particular, anchoring it down into an area where it is economically sound. And I'm not saying that because Russell Norman has tried to move it into that area where the right parties sit or anything like that. That's a bit of an illusion in many senses, and many kind of arguments around that. But it's more that he has come through, he has explained green economics, he's explained the causes and the benefits, the causes and the effect, and the solutions and the benefits to those solutions from his point of view. I think that's a great thing. The other parties like Mana coming through and representing working people in New Zealand. We know, Glenn, and I know you know too, that working people in this country have and certainly those who are finding it hard to get off the starting mark, have not had political representation in the Parliament for many years.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. But there are still things that are coming out. Like it does appear that the National Party is playing around with this accusation that Phil Goff said in the leaders' debate this week, that the national-led government had instructed the police to postpone or cancel that first recruit of new police recruits, the training of those in March. They said, no, we didn't. That's just not right. We did not cancel it. But they have actually deferred it. And what that means is they've taken that group of people that were going to be trained out of that March slot. They have cancelled that. It's just going to start a little bit later in the year. So that one's not going to be replaced. It's gone.
Yeah.
So they're playing around with words there. People don't like that kind of thing, but whether that transfers to votes, we'll wait and see. The other thing is that the Green Party, and a very shrewd researcher in the Green Party unit there down in Parliament, who came out with this statement yesterday. Russell Norman put the statement out that showed that National has gone to Treasury and asked Treasury to calculate the costs and benefits to rolling out more state assets on top of what it's already said to get out into dumping onto the share market, to sell to the share market. Now, that's additional to these energy ones that we've heard all about. National hasn't told anyone about this, but through the research that was done through the Green Party's parliamentary unit, we found out yesterday, and there's a statement up on Scoop to that point, Glenn.
But how does that align with John Key's public statements, and in fact in every debate where he says no, he will go back to the electorate next time round in 2014 with a mandate, or try to seek a mandate to sell more assets?
I don't know. I'm not a spin doctor for John Key. It's up to him to answer that today. It's an important issue. Maybe he's got an answer. Maybe he hasn't. But really, the fact is, they have gone to Treasury. They've said, John Key's lot have said, do the calculations for us on further asset sales. We want to know what the cost and benefits of that is. That's been confirmed by the Ombudsman, by the way, not just the Green Party saying this. The Ombudsman has blocked all of that detail from being released, but has admitted that approach has been made. So that's a fact. So John Key's got to answer that. It's an interesting one. These issues are very big, and it seems, I suppose, to sum up, about how these are in this election campaign, it does seem to me that John Key is so popular, and very popular, that he's taking his party, to governance again. But a lot of the policies that they're rolling out, the public kind of don't like. It's kind of like these, when we watch that worm, and I think we need to take notice of that worm. It's not just three people staring that in some kind of studio room. This went out to the public too, and every time something was mentioned about providing solutions to those who were not getting a fair go in this country, that worm went up. Every time John Key kind of tried to palm it off, or try to explain, oh well, this is just the way it is type of attitude, down she went. So there are values out there, but what we're seeing in these landline polls is they're not equating to perhaps presented intended votes on the day. Whether or not the landline polls are accurate to the percentages is one argument, but we will see on Saturday. But I do think they do indicate trends, and so we can kind of get an expectation of where things are going to go.
So apart from that presidential-style campaign with those two leaders, I mean, who have been the standout candidates?
Yeah, the candidates. Well, I think, if you look in the Auckland region, and they've got Nikki Kay and Jacinda Ardern in Auckland Central now. That's a fantastic couple of people there for voters to choose from. Nikki Kay, we've seen has been able to have the guts to stand apart from her party on environmental issues at times, and actually come out in favour of the views that represented by majority in her electorate. Arguably, she had quite a part to play in stopping Coromandel and Great Barrier Island from being mined, the conservation land over there being mined. So Nikki Kay, she's an interesting person there, and really respect the way that she's moved to solidify the blue-green vote inside National there. Jacinda Ardern, now she's one smart politician and one decent human being too. You can see that. Labor's very lucky to have people like Jacinda Ardern kind of going into that party. You can see that there is life after what we've seen in the last 3 years. And I've got to say, those two people stand out. But Holly Walker, standing for the Greens in Hutt South, and she's number 12 on the list. Now, she's one very impressive person there too, and the Greens are very lucky, once again, just like Labour with Jacinda Ardern and National with Nikki Kay, to have Holly Walker there. Looks like she, if the Greens poll really well, they have been polling really well. If they do get that represented in the vote on Saturday, they'll have Holly Walker in Parliament. And I underline and underscore her name. I think people should watch her. She's one smart cookie. Prediction there
from me, I think that they will settle down between 10 and 11%. I really don't think they're going to hit that 13. There's something about New Zealanders on polling day where they say they're going to do one thing and then they get there and then they go, actually, no, I'm going to do a safe bet or something.
Yeah, at number 12 on the list, Holly Walker may skate through, and I think you're probably right there. I think, the landline polling does have certain skews, if you like the National Party does very well under a landline poll. Even National people are expecting that while the polls are saying around 50%, 51% support, that the actual poll on the day will be around maybe 46%. maybe even lower.
Yeah.
So the same with the Greens. The Greens are very much get a lot of support from those fairly wealthy liberal areas that landline polls kind of get to very easily, and so you can see the Green Party vote just pulling back a bit. Those parties like Labour and Mana, certainly the Māori Party too, to a degree, that you can expect them to go up a bit. So I think you'll see, while the polls are showing Labour almost collapsing into the 20s, the mid-20s, I do think that you'll see the rollout of the Labour vote being around over the 30 mark, and every percentage point above 30 will be a bonus for Labour. So that's the way I kind of see those things rolling.
And I just want to play this clip here last night from Pat Gower on 3 News.
Yeah.
John Banks wasn't getting too many supportive toots on Parnell Road today, so when one finally came along, no wonder he enjoyed it. And just like toots, Banks needs a few more votes if he is to win Epsom. A poll of 500 voters in tomorrow's National Business Review shows National's Paul Goldsmith still in the lead with 46%. Banks is trailing on 37%. Labour's David Parker is well back on 12%, while David Hay of the Greens is on 3.3%.
You've got to say now it would be an upset for Banks now to win Epsom.
I know, and people have heard so much about Epsom. I think, we've just got to wait and see now. My gut is, and I'd put money on it if I was a punting man, I think Goldsmith is going to get through there. But really, is this what campaigning has come down to? Where John Banks stands there on the corner of a road, he doesn't discuss issues, doesn't discuss policies. He just stands there with a bunch of people in yellow clothes trying to get cars to toot at him. I mean, is that campaigning? I mean, it's pathetic. But, that aside, he stands out as a candidate, but for all the wrong reasons, I reckon, Glenn. So let's put him to bed once and for all.
So overall, Selwyn, likely outcomes?
Yeah, I think, like we were touching on before, I think the landline polls, they basically show the trends. I think it will be a victory to the National Party, but I do think that, I'll put a condition on that. I get the gut feeling that it will not be able to rule on its own, that it will need a coalition partner near it. I do not think the ACT Party is going to get in. So that pulls National into relying on parties like the Māori Party here. John Key, he has already said he does not believe that the Greens will want to go with him, and so he is kind of being petulant in a sense and saying, right, no, they're off our focus list here.
Yeah.
But the Māori Party will be under a lot of pressure, but it may only bring in 2 or 3 MPs. It looks like probably 3 at the most. So, that's my prediction. I think a national minority government is possible, but it almost could be pulled down at any time if it does not actually appease the wants of the Māori Party. I think New Zealand First is so close to getting over that 5 that if it gets over that 5%, then we've got a very, very, very strong and interesting opposition that will include perhaps 3 MPs from the Mana Party, and that will be something to look forward to, because there will be no more kind of just lacklustre, where is this policy going kind of approach from the Parliament. The Parliament will be energised with these opposition leader MPs absolutely scrutinising and having a go at the national-led government, minority government.
Well, let's go out on this final clip here from the debate on Monday or Wednesday night, I think it was, from a comment from John Key.
Stu, and we haven't got a lot of time, so we'll press you on this. Can you work with the Green Party?
Let me jump to your question to him. I'm out with Winston Peters. The Green Party, look, they want to go with Labour, and that's what they've said.
So you don't...
Yeah, so that kind of sums up John Key's position this week on agreements after Saturday. And I look forward to chatting with you, Selwyn, once more next week after the results are out. Thanks very much.
That'll be good. Okay, Glenn, take care.
State of it, Selwyn Manning.